It is time for a tour of the shed. So let's get started. This is, of course, the forge, and it has a hair dryer powering it. It actually came with this, but I wanted something that was it's more powerful, actually. Doesn't, for whatever reason it is. Not sure about how it works. And this kind of jury-rigged system where air can go is forced through there, but if holes come back, they go down here, not into the hairdryer. So we hooked it up to the stovepipe, and goes up and out of the shed. There's a rain cap, and that pretty much takes all the lots of the heat and gases from burning coal out of the shed, so that really helps. This is kind of sound resistant soundproofing board, and this is fire retardant drywall, and that's for this area to and while I'm at it with the improved walls, I can talk about the floor, which is concrete fiber. We added these things in because I'm working with hot things, and it'd just be kind of more convenient. Then we don't have a bunch of burn marks on the floor and potentially a fire or something. And I have this cinder block set up. The idea is that I can configure these to whatever I want them to be. They used to be over here. We just change them as I go. This long part down here I use when I want to air cool things. So that way it's not touching the forge wheels or the box. Let's see. And I have a bucket, helps for when the tools get hot. They're just mild steel, so they don't harden very much. Doesn't really matter. They don't get up to critical temperature anyway. Here is my steel. I think I've mentioned before that some of it's mild steel and some of it is carbon steel. I have some things that are in the works, kind of like this. And some things that are just waiting to be used, some things waiting to be cut. And over here is just pretty much just wall. And this is the old anvil stand until I had a friend who could get me a stump, and I just now set hammers on it, and that works well. I have some folding chairs if I want to sit down, and there's a vacuum that needs to be fixed. Here I have glasses and welding gloves and ear protection, and this tube I use in the indoor shop when grinding to I fill it with water, and if it starts to get hot, I can just dunk it in this rather than having to use that little bucket, because, you're grinding in the middle of the sword, and I can't reach the bucket. So it's really helped. But I'm not going to use it to quench swords, because if I don't use water hardening steels, the steels I like to use are oil hardening. So what would happen if I try to quench a sword in there, like a red hot sword? That's going to heat up the oil and probably heat up the PVC pipe, and then it's going to probably bend and maybe even break. And oil, red hot sword, it's probably going to be on fire, and everything is going to burn. I don't want that. So it's just for grinding and cooling things down. And I keep it in here when it's not in use. Here's my angle grinder things. Recently stocked up on lots of wheels. Here's an old vise and bench grinder my grandpa gave me. And let's see. Back there are some crates of I'm not sure what. And there's a propane torch that I recently got. That hooks up to these propane bottles. And here's a piece of railroad track I found on the side. Also, this I also found on the side. And under there, I have some vegetable oil for quenching. And those are some pieces of wood from the hole I cut to make space for that. And the red stuff is heat-resistant silicone. Yeah, that's it. Then here's a table of just things. Here's some attachments for the torch. I think this is for pipes. Not exactly sure what. I don't really work with pipes, but there are little flames that come out of that. All those little holes, and it's pretty neat. And this is also neat. I have some kind of pliers and channel locks, or no, vice grips, I think is what I call them. And some wire brushes, and the old propane torch attachment is like a 1/4 inch. The other one is 3/4 inch. So that's 3 times the diameter, and I think circle area goes up exponentially relative to the diameter. So lots more heat, I would think. And this is my fuel. I use hardwood lump charcoal I use that and lighter fluid in, this is supposed to be over here. Get some paper and cardboard down there, charcoal, and that goes in the forge, and then after that I can put the anthracite on it, and that is the main fuel, and I just stocked up on that as well. Okay. And actually, here's the tripod that I'm going to try to be using. And here's where I keep the kind of paper, cardboard, small pieces of wood kind of things for, it's pretty much a lot like kindling kind of things. And I often forge in the evening when it's dinner time, so for people to bring me out food, I have this hold-up table here, and there's this piece of wood I put underneath, and it pretty much works like that, except I'd spend a bit more time working on table. And of course, I just prepared this because I'm about to forge after I make this. So the workout from swinging the hammer and the heat of the forge, it's helpful to stay hydrated. And electricity comes from an extension cord from an outlet behind that bush that runs over there underneath the shed, and to there, and it goes up to here. And my dad and I wired some outlets and lights and a these switches control the individual lights, but there's also just the single switch. So there's also that outlet over there that powers the hairdryer and sometimes the vacuum when I use it. Other than that, keep the lighters up here so as not to have anyone who shouldn't be using them, so they can't reach them. But I can easily reach them, so just don't want little kids playing with lighters. So the doors I often open up for ventilation. Also the box fan I put in the window with this bungee cord along there. It is another crude but functional thing. And a fire extinguisher. That is wasp spray, because that there and over here, that line, there's some kind of mesh material and some kind of vents. That way air can flow through. I think they're called soffits and breathing soffits or something, and they help with ventilation. But bugs somehow find a way through, and they like to live up there sometimes. So I have to use that now and again. Trash can, a broom, and that is the vacuum. Helps with cleaning things out. And those are broken fire breaks that have broken from the heat, probably using them for more than they're intended. So it's to be expected. And I do believe that might be it. The buckets, oh yeah, and this little cup is if there have been times when I want to cool down what I'm holding, but it's difficult to grab, can't really grab this and dunk it in the bucket, so I was trying to take the shovel and pour that in, but it wasn't very good, so I asked for a dedicated cup. They gave me this, so I just scoop some water and pour that on there. And it makes it cooler for when I hold it. Yeah. That's it.